Kent Spitfires qualified for the quarter-finals of the Royal London One Day Cup as they maintained their unbeaten record on the road to Lords with a 59-run Duckworth-Lewis win over the Sussex Sharks in Canterbury, a result which just about ends their chances of further advancement. Ed Joyce inserted after winning the toss, and Daniel Bell-Drummond and Sam Northeast made a steady start with an opening stand of 36 in 7.5 overs. Then Northeast, who'd made 20, tried to run Lewis Hatchett to third man and nicked behind to Ben Brown. That brought in Ben Harmison, and he made 33 in a partnership of 69 with Bell-Drummond, which carried the total onto 105 in the 21st over. Harmison then slightly mistimed a shot off Stefan Pilot, sending the ball into the air and out to Luke Wright at long off. Bell-Drummond was still there and on his way to his best ever score in List A cricket. His half-century, his second in this format, was made off 60 balls, from which he'd found the boundary 4 times for his very confident team. This was another confident start from the only undefeated side in this 50-over competition. It wasn't always plain sailing for the young opener. At times, the scenes at the ground resembled the Keystone Cops trying to pull in some bad sorts who were robbing a banana factory. Bell-Drummond could have been run out. And he also survived a leading edge of Chris Liddle, which kept his innings going and a partnership with Fabian Cowdrey building. These two young players are developing very nicely for a team which has reached the top of its form in all 3 competitions in the last month or so. This pair added 74 runs in 11 overs for the third wicket, taking the total to 179 with 18 to go. They had lost Cowdrey by then, as he was trapped in front by Liddle for a 40, which was made off only 32 deliveries. Bell-Drummond must have been hopeful of progressing to a maiden one-day 100, but on 83, he mistimed a cut off Yasser Arafat to feed Craig Kachopa a catch in the covers. The Sharks were starting to fight back, even though Darren Stevens pulled Hatchett for the first 6 of the game. With the total on 221 in the 40th over, Stevens on 24 was then bowled by Yasser Arafat for his second wicket. But the star of this tournament, Sam Billings, was still there and again looking dangerous. He has had an exceptional competition thus far, and yet again he produced some extraordinary cricket shots, the kind that must have some at the top of the game beginning to take notice of him. In 6 overs, he added 48 runs with Alex Blake, who was out for a runnable 20. Matt Machin with the catch at deep cover off Yasser Arafat. In the next over, Callum Haggett picked out Wright at mid-wicket off Pilot, before Yasser Arafat picked up a 4th wicket by having James Treadwell taken behind. It was not quite the finish the Spitfires would have been hoping for, but with Billings still there, taking his tally of 6s to 13 in this competition, more than anyone else in spite of batting only 4 times, a total of more than 300 was still on. Mitch Claydon sacrificed his wicket in the penultimate over as he tried to keep Billings on strike and was run out by Machin for a single. But Billings did get to the 50 mark for the 4th time in 4 knocks with a couple of runs in the final over. He'd faced 37 deliveries and had taken his tally of runs to 337 at an average of 168.5 and with a strike rate of 174.6. The innings was ended with 1 ball unused as Doug Bollinger was run out trying to get Billings on strike for the last delivery, and so Kent had to settle for a score of 299, Yasser Arafat with figures of 4 for 49. The Sharks knew that a win would put them up to 2nd place in a very tight group where 7 teams could still realistically qualify for the last 8, and Wright made his intentions clear by striking an early maximum off Bollinger after the target had been reduced to 284 off 45 overs because of a shower. But Wright was out in the 7th over for 21 as the Australian exacted his revenge, Harmison with a catch in the covers off a rasping drive. 68 runs came off the 10 overs of power play, with Joyce hitting his 6th delivery over the rope. But Sussex were 2 down after 10 as Chris Nash edged Stevens to Treadwell, a very well-placed slip. The rain arrived again with a score on 82 for 2 after 13.5 overs, and on the resumption, Sussex had been given a very tough target of 243 to win from 35, so now needing 161 from 21, Joyce needed to get a wriggle on. Briefly, Sussex were ahead of the rate, but after Kachopa drove Treadwell to Bollinger at mid-off, things began to unravel for the visitors. Treadwell will return to Sussex on loan in the Championship this week, but for now, he was doing the business for Kent. He bowled Joyce for 47 for his second wicket. Machen was then out with a total on 130 for 5 in over number 22, Haggett trapping him in front for 13. And Claydon then put his side firmly in the driver's seat by bowling Brown for 8. The rest then followed fairly quickly. Treadwell caused most of the problems. He had Pilot held by Bollinger, who judged a steepling catch very well under the lights. And the spinner ended with figures of 4 for 27 from his 7 overs when Yasser Arafat was speedily stumped by Billings for 21. Will Beer was then bowled by Claydon's slower delivery. And the game was over as Hatchett also had his stumps disturbed by the same bowler, who claimed 3 for 26 from 5.5 overs as the Sharks were all out for 183 in the 32nd. It meant a 59-run win for the Spitfires, who now have 11 points from 7 unbeaten games at the top of their group. They are almost certain of having a home quarter-final too, even ahead of their last group game at home to Middlesex under the lights next Wednesday. Sussex play their last game on the same afternoon at home to Glamorgan, but not even a win there might be enough for them to advance any further.